Hi, I'm Pattu from Free FinCal. In this video, let's review Sundaram Mid Cap Fund. This has been one of the consistent performers in the mid cap space. It was earlier called Sundaram Select Mid Cap and has been renamed as Sundaram Mid Cap after the SIV categorization rules. So it was launched in July 2002 and has quickly grown to the fourth place in terms of AUM. It's got about 5,700 crores of AUM. And most interestingly, it's one of the very few mid-cap funds to have comfortably bet the Nifty Mid-Cap 100 Total Returns Index from inception. I'll make another video on this to explain what I mean by that. So earlier it used to define mid-cap as the bottom 450 stocks of the NSE. So it also included the Nifty Next 50 as mid-cap stocks. But now, according to SEBI, and this is wrong, only the middle 150 stocks are defined as mid-cap. So the top 100 is large cap, middle 150 is mid-cap, and bottom 250 and below is small cap. The earlier classification as bottom 450 as mid-cap is actually the correct classification in my opinion. But anyway, so that has been changed. So going forward, you may expect the fund to be a little more volatile after this change. Now, I have been running SIP of rupees 500 a month. This is not for me, but this was somebody I know I have to help somebody for their future. So, I have made a post on lessons from my SIP in Sundaram Select Midcap, and these are screenshots from that. This was published in March 2018, so it's a little bit old, but the SIP is still running. So you can see that I started this SIP around August 2009, and for the first few years nothing, there was no returns at all, and then it kind of zoomed up, and you can see it's still falling down. Recently it's falling down. It must have fallen down in the last 8 months, it must have fallen down more. So at sometime when I look at it, it will be 25% XIRR, and suddenly it will drop to 14%, 12% and so on. So it's a very volatile ride. You must be ready for it, otherwise don't invest in it. In this or any mid-cap fund. So this must be true for most mid-cap funds. I'm just showing you an example of this. So this has been the yearly returns of this SIP. You can see that's 4%, 11%, 14%, 86%, -7, up and down, up and down. It's very volatile, so you got to be ready for it. And I have an XIRR monthly tracker. So if I actually plot the month-on-month XIRR of the SIP, you can see that the fund, you can see how volatile it has been. It's been quite low here, then it has jumped up, and then this more or less stayed around 20-ish% and so on. It has also outperformed the Nifty Midcap 150 in this comparison. So it's done quite well, and I'm letting the SIP run because the money is not needed for the next many years. And this is a SIP since April 2006. So this is not the real. I mean, this is not a real SIP, but this is a SIP since April 2006 from when I could get the NAV data. Notice that for 7 years the returns were practically nothing, and then even so from January 2018, I think the market started falling down. So it's reflecting that inside the hexagon you can see it's reflecting. So you got to be ready for such an up and down journey. Otherwise, don't invest in any mid cap fund, let alone this one. Alright, so let's look at the investment philosophy of this fund. This fund says it uses something called the 5S approach, along with buying stocks that are expected to grow and buying it at a reasonable price. So simple business, scalable opportunity, sound management, sustainable competitive advantage, and so steady and sustainable cash flows. That's what it looks for in a mid cap before buying it. It also has the freedom to go overweight or underweight on different sectors depending on how its future outlook could be according to the fund house. Now, if you go to the Morningstar fund page, you can see the risk and return rating tab. I have shown this video for other funds. I think you should do it for all the funds. This is the 10-year horizon. You can see that the risk category is high and the return category is above average. And you can see here that the fund in terms of risk is above the index and well above the category, but its return is also a little bit above. So it's a high risk and potential high return kind of fund, and it's upside capture. That is, whenever the index moves up, the index here is BSE Midcap. That is the benchmark of the fund also. So whenever the BSE Midcap moves up, the fund typically tends to move up more, But when it falls down, it does not protect as much as it should. But over 10 years, it's been okay. But over 5 years and 3 years, you can change this in the website and see. So in terms of so the typical characteristic of this fund is its upside performance. That is, whenever the index moves up, it tends to move up more than the index, and this upside performance is greater than the category. And its downside protection. So whenever the index falls, it typically it does have some downside protection, but that is not better than the category. That's worse than the category average. So that's the kind of fund this is. So you have to be aware of this before you get into this fund. So fine. So now let's get into the usual graphs that I show you. I'll just show you one graph. This is the rolling return over 10 years. And I have compared several indices and peers. If you want to look at the 5-year performance, you can click on the review in the description box, along with my lessons from the SIV that I'm running. Both the links are in the description box. So let's get to the top panel. This is a rolling return. So we are looking at every possible 10-year returns from April or June 2002, since the fund was started. So the green is the Sundaram Mid Cap Fund, and the red is HDFC Mid Cap Opportunities. HDFC Mid Cap is a much more recent fund, so it doesn't have much of a history. The blue is Nifty Next 50. The white is Nifty Mid Cap 100, which is a tough benchmark to beat. Pink is L&T Mid Cap. Brown is Franklin India Prima Fund, and the grayish or kind of violetish is Nifty Mid Cap 150. So notice that in over the last 10 years, the fund has a spectacular performance in terms of outperforming the Nifty Mid Cap 100. Of course, HDFC Opportunities Fund has also been performing well, and actually, the HDFC Fund has outperformed Sundaram Mid Cap in the last few years. But other than that, if you look at the extended history of Sundaram Mid Cap, it has done exceptionally well. It has bet the index. That's what more do you want. And in the bottom panel, you have the rolling risk. So over the 10-year period, over every 10-year period, we are looking at the monthly returns and how much the monthly returns deviate from the average. That's the standard deviation or a measure of the risk. So you can see that the Nifty Next 50 is the most risky index because it's got just 50 stocks. The green is again Sundaram Mid Cap. The lowest risk has been HDFC Mid Cap Opportunity, so it's a fantastic fund. Although the only problem is that it's got 21,000 crores. So that's a huge amount of AUM for Mid Cap fund. Except for that problem, in terms of return and risk, HDFC Mid Cap is a superior fund to Sundaram Mid Cap. There's no doubt about it. But I mean, if you don't care about the volatility, return-wise, Sundaram has done well. You can see over the 5-year data I have shown in the post. The link is below. You can see there's not much to differentiate between the two funds. So all in all, I think there's no reason for existing investors using the text there. So there's no reason for existing investors to exit the fund. The fund has been doing well. Of course, you should be aware of its volatility. Newer investors again must understand this fund will test your patience. It will take time to deliver, and you should use it only for truly long-term goals. And you should not expect downside protection from this fund. Don't expect any downside protection. It will not fall less than the index, or it will not beat its peers when the market is down. But when the market tends to move up, it will typically do well. So it's that kind of fund. If you are happy with that kind of performance, if you are ready with that, then choose this fund. Otherwise, look for a fund with, what can I say, better downside protection. You can. I'm publishing my equity consistency screener in the next few days. You can use that to select your own mid cap fund. So that's what I have to say about Sundaram Mid Cap. I'll catch you in another video. This video was requested for a long time. I'm sorry it took my time in doing it. If you have any other fund that you want reviewed, leave a comment below. I'll take my time in getting there, but don't worry, I won't forget. So I'll catch you in another video. Bye bye. Thank you for watching.